Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, and welcome back to this sets of videos called Ignore as a Form of Abuse. I'm very happy to record from this beautiful park, Olive Garden, next to my home, right behind my home. As you could see, as you know, my house isn't that beautiful. There is not so much light, but I am blessed to be able to record here, and I hope that the sound would be acceptable as well. And in this video of today, I'm gonna talk about ignore as a form of abuse. Once again, I'm gonna discuss what is food ignore, or any kind of ignore related to food, and how is this becoming a form of abuse. I'm trying also to fix the angle of this recording set. I think I did it wonderful. It's very challenging to record in the park, but you can see it's beautiful, it's amazing. So what is food ignore? This is a type of ignore that it requires the person to train you or push you to ignore your need of healthy, balanced food, or put you in situation of deprivation of food or water. And I'm not talking about eating something special. I'm just talking about some simple basic needs of food. For example, avoiding to provide you with regular meals. There is people who ignore their partner's need of food as a form of abuse to punish them, not allow you to eat, forget to tell you that there would be no food. So for example, if you go somewhere to travel, you would just stay hungry the whole day, or bring you in a situation purposely, knowingly, that there would be no food and no water. There is people that do this as a form of ignore, as a form to control, because when somebody is ignoring you, the main goal is to get some kind of a control over you. And this type of behaviors usually train you to ignore yourself, and the first form of side effect of this type of ignore, it's overeating. If you have been in a situation where you have been deprived from food or just basic nourishment, there is the tendency to overeat because you remember the hunger. I know people that in a very advanced age have this need to eat because they are afraid that there would be no food, especially here in Eastern Europe. When we talk about places that have suffered the war, different type of wars, I know people who would have the need to eat, overeat. Food ignore, for example, it's also partners that forcing their partners to fast or make diets. I just met a lady, younger Latino girl, and she had a French boyfriend, and she was telling me that she's not even 19, she's not even full age. The boyfriend was telling her that she have to be on a diet because she is fat, and she was not skinny, I have to admit. However, she was in this period of growing, and he was training her not to eat, so to ignore her need of food in a certain time, and then she would overeat. And this is just like, she's like, oh, I'm gonna fast all day and then it's okay to eat, but she will bulk when she eat, this ignore of having a balanced diet again. Another type of ignore or abuse, it's when you are forced to eat a certain type of food. For example, you have a preference to something that you don't like, and your partner is ignoring this preference and insisting that you have to eat this food and that nothing is gonna happen if you eat it. Or not eat a certain type of food. For example, you like to eat something, and I don't want to talk about like unhealthy amounts of heavy fried food or heavy like meat or anything, but for example, sometimes eat an ice cream or a pastry. I don't say a whole pastry, but maybe a piece of cake, to be forbidden to you for certain reasons. That's also another type of food ignore. And the other one is situation with no food or no water. For example, I have a friend of mine, a guy took her for a walk, and it should have been like, she said, I was taking 1 hour walk, and it turned to 7 hours hike with no food and no water. This form of ignore, as in other forms of ignore that I discussed in the previous videos, they are also form of abuse because they train you to ignore your basic needs of health. Your basic needs of water and food are fundamental to you, and you should indeed consider this a red flag. I recently have a story that I feel like sharing. I met this person last week, and this individual invited me for a dinner, which was very nice. I am here 8 months in Italy. Nobody have invited me for dinner in a long time, so I was kind of thrilled by that. And when we got to the restaurant, this person was very, very upset because I wanted to eat vegetables. And he was convinced that I should just order the risotto and nothing else. And during the entire dinner, because I ordered the risotto and I ordered a second dish, side dish of vegetables, he was kind of mocking me for ordering vegetables as well, that mixing the food is bad, it's not high class, it's not aristocratic, like poor people do that, and why would you mix it, and how mixing the food is not like classy, and it's like he needed to control what I eat. I didn't even ask this person to pay for my bill, but food ignore, it's also a form of ignore that can show you how a person will ignore other type of preferences. Because the red flags, this is just one more red flag for me, and food ignore becomes a form of abuse because it usually tends to get worse with time. It worsens with time, and it brings you to second guess yourself. I also remember when I was 20, I met my mother for the first time. I moved to USA, and the food in USA was honestly bad in my opinion. It was not tasty. It was just not tasting well compared to the food in Europe, and I wasn't eating like much of other things, but there were fruits, and I was eating bananas, and I remember her boyfriend make a huge scandal because I eat a banana that he purchased. And so from this moment on, I was in my mother's house, but I couldn't eat a fruit if I want to, because I didn't know who is gonna get pissed with me or upset because I didn't pay for it, you know. So food ignore, it's a horrible red flag. It's a horrible sign of abuse, and it's abuse form that usually it's not announced. Nobody's gonna say, hello, good morning, I am gonna train you how to ignore your need of food and not to listen yourself and eat what you don't want to eat or eat what I order you. Usually this type of abuse happens when a person asks you out and they want to order for you. and they maybe offer to order for you, which it could be not always abuse, but they would insist that you order a specific dish, and you have to listen to them because they know better. Like, for example, this person that I met last week, he didn't care what I want to eat. Maybe I didn't want to eat risotto, and the truth is that I eat half of this risotto, and the entire time I was thinking about vegetables because I didn't want to eat risotto at this moment. And after this, my stomach hurts me because if your body doesn't want risotto, you don't have to force it. I have a friend that the parent of her would force them, they were few children, to eat in a certain amount of time. They had to eat fast. And even if they're full, they have to ignore it and finish the entire food, otherwise they're bad. And I have met a lot of people who have been trained to ignore when they're full and overeat because they have been trained with this ignoring their body's techniques that I describe in this video. So food ignore is another form of abuse that is very common. It's very common. I just remember another story of my childhood here. When I was very young, my grandmother would overly over salt in my food. She would put or too much salt or too much sugar sometimes, and I would notice that, and if I asked her to taste, she would tell me that I was crazy. She would deny it. She would gaslight me. So I would taste my sister or brother food, and I would notice that actually my food is bad because I was not her. She would call me, "You're not my real granddaughter." That was her excuse for this behavior usually. But anyways, when I say to her that it's over sweet or over salt, she will deny it. So I would switch my dish with my brother. And when my brother or sister say that, she will acknowledge it right away and just throw the entire plate and make another plate for them. This is another form of abuse that my grandma used with food, which I called food ignore or food abuse. It's abuse after a certain period of time because it trains you not to trust your body. It trains you not to trust your gustatory system. That's about the food ignore, guys. If you like this video and if you learned something new with me, if you were pleased to listen to these stories with me and to discover why food ignore is a form of abuse, you can press like. I will be extremely pleased if you write me some comments below and share your stories with this type of ignore. Have you been victim of this type of abuse? Write me your story. I would love to read them and comment. Maybe make a video about your story. Thank you for being here. Bye bye.